Well, we've now learned more about an alleged assault of a 16-year-old stopped by the Orange Grove police chief. Documents show this didn't even happen within Orange Grove city limits. Instead, it was in the city of Alice. According to eyewitness reporting, Chief Roy Lee Guerrero was wearing civilian clothing yet never really properly identified himself. Our Trevier Gonzalez shows us video of the incident and much more.
It was on May 3rd when city councilors moved to open an investigation into the actions of their police chief. He's already been charged with a misdemeanor crime by the Alice Police Department, but this separate investigation would look into whether or not city policy was violated.
Where do you live at? What does it matter?
This is how the situation began at that Alice apartment complex back on March 25th.
Did he say who he was?
He didn't say who he was. He didn't identify himself at all. No badge. He was wearing civilian clothes.
The victim is a 16-year-old who states that a man shined a spotlight on him while he stepped outside to grab a phone charger.
The only thing he identified himself with was, Lisa hired me to do a job. I'm just doing my job.
Since they are minors, the faces of him and his friends were blurred by the department.
I'm telling him, like, get off me, man. Like, you cannot search me.
Yeah.
And he keeps trying to grab me and throw me against like the car window. Like, he's like this, and then he's like throwing me like that, like, hey, man.
In a police report by the Alice Police Department, the 16-year-old alleges he was pushed against Guerrero's police cruiser several times.
And you were still kind of not letting him do it?
I wasn't gonna let him do that to me. There was no reason for that. If there was a reason, then that would have been something else, but I did nothing wrong for him to do that to me.
Okay.
There was no reason for that at all.
I spoke with Orange Grove City Administrator Todd Wright. He was kind enough to let me sit down with him, but said the mayor had instructed him to not speak to this case because of the active investigation the city had launched. Instead, I asked about policy. Members of the Orange Grove Police Department really aren't able to utilize the city's property for personal reasons unless they obtain prior permission. Wright tells me he was never asked. As Alice police made their way to Guerrero's residence, he reaffirmed that he was acting as private security for the complex.
He was obviously hiding something, you know. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, you know, because you're right. I wasn't in uniform, you know, but you know, I was there doing a job because, you know, they hired me, you know, to do the job. He said, I had my lights on him? Yeah, I did. You know, I told him to stop, you know, and he kept going. I told him, hey, stop.
One officer trying to be empathetic but honest about what they had been told.
Basically, they're just mad because they didn't know who you were. I mean, yeah, you were going to Orange Grove. You weren't wearing a police uniform.
You were part of, yeah, and then you were very disrespectful and you were very rude. And
I tried calling the chief to see if he would want to comment on that interaction, but the second I identified myself, he hung up. Reporting in Orange Grove, Trevier Gonzalez, Chris 6 Sunrise.
All right, and we're also learning of accusations Chief Guerrero had threatened to get the mother of that 16-year-old evicted from the complex. As of our last update, no one is facing any suspicions as a result.